and then I'm gonna play this video. Just a moment. All right, I'm just gonna share this on like Twitter. I'm not gonna, actually I might as well share it in the usual places. So share that there. And share that. No, I don't want to do this. Share that here. And all right, should see. All right, that's everything right there. And that's there. All right. And mute this. And put all, oops, and put this right here. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to CRWS interview with Mr. Sloan, fellow victim of racism, who spent 33 years in Greater Confinement, better known as prison, but we call it Greater Confinement because the whole planet is a prison system. We're all in a prison. It's just some victims fall prey to being captured in greater confinement, known as prison. I'm gonna play this video. I'm not playing this for us to comment on it. I just think it's really constructive and could get our brain computers thinking about the subject matter we're gonna be discussing, racism and white supremacy. And just as a example that we are here to have a serious conversation and to focus on serious matters, something Black people have been trained away from. So I'm going to play this and then we're going to start the interview. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if this is of constructive value. And shout out to Carlito for his excellent YouTube channel, Hip Hop Cartoons. Give that a like, comment, and share as well.
Black people, the spokespersons. They're not leaders, they're spokespersons. They can ask and then they can beg. They can go to the second thing. You can make a request, and when you ask twice, now you're begging. But we are all in position of being beggars because the world is a prison. And when you are a prisoner of war, you are a beggar if you're talking to the prison master. You're begging. You can't go off somewhere and say, well, if he doesn't want to do what I want done, I can do this. I can go back to my cell and I can do this and I can do that. You got to remember, you're in the master of the prison cell. So white supremacists sit back and say, well, hey, what we're doing is working fine because we are not confused. Our job is to dominate non-white people, everybody who's black, brown, red, yellow, beige, purple, orange, gold, whatnot. Everybody who is not white, as a white supremacist, it is my duty to dominate and mistreat them forever. That's the white supremacist agenda. That's what it is. And I am not confused about that, and nobody can confuse me about that, and I am some kind of efficient with it because I have accomplished that. I'm not trying to accomplish that. I have long, my forefathers before me accomplished that. We have this down to a scientific perfection, and we got these people so spaced out, they don't have any idea not only about who they are and what they are here for, They got no idea about nothing that I don't tell them. That's the white supremacist agenda.
Yes.
Because it's an agenda that works. You have to understand that the entire world is dominated by the white supremacists. And if you have color in your skin, you are a person who has been assigned to be mistreated because of your color, because of the way you were born, because of the way that the creator of you, if you are a person of color, a non-white person, the creator put color in your skin. And the white supremacists are saying, well, regardless of who did it, it means you are eligible to be mistreated by me because I'm a white person and you are not white. So I have the power and the authority and the privilege and all of everything that's supposed to be of benefit is supposed to be around me. And you are only supposed to get what I say you can have because you have color in your skin. Now, the non-white people who understand that this is the setup and this is the dominant government of the entire planet, then the white supremacists will understand that you understand this, and if enough people understand it, people can't go. It's something about the mind that says you don't go against something that, I mean, you can't ignore something that you understand, particularly when it's working against you. That'll keep bothering you until you'll have a tendency to do something about it. Now, that's what the white supremacists do not want. They do not want black people to be logical. They do not want black people to think about anything except something that's real silly and real stupid. This is why they always glorify stupidity in black people. If a black person has a tendency to show stupidity or silliness, that black person, the white supremacists immediately seize upon them and say, this person doesn't show any signs of being serious about anything. So these are the black people that we want to become more and more prominent. And we will feed into their silliness. Anything stupid that they come up with or we come up with for them, we will glorify it. As long as it's stupid and silly. Anything that's serious and constructive, we don't want them to be logical. We don't want them to tap into that. That's not the way we want any people of color to ever think. We want them to be celebratory people, the people who are jumping up and down and turning flips all day and running around in a circle. And then when they bump into each other, I mean, they immediately start fighting each other. That's the way we want to keep them. But if they're sitting down and slowly thinking things through and trying to be problem solvers rather than problem makers, no, we don't want those type of non-white people to get out from under our surveillance. You watch them very closely. It's like that dangerous black person on the plantation who's always going around trying to read something or trying to figure things out, asking questions, trying to figure out how the plantation is run. That is a dangerous Negro on this plantation. Sell him down the river or give him a good whipping and stop him from being curious about serious things. Keep him in the silly mode. That is the category that black people are always supposed to be in, the silly mode, the destructive mode. Don't let them think about anything serious because then they become a danger.
All righty, that was Mr. Neely Fuller, Jr., author of the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. Very constructive piece of information. Now, Mr. Sloan, my first question for you is, I believe that there's evidence that proves this, that we are in a system of racism, white supremacy, and the definition I'm going to use for it is this originated from Gus T. Renegade, a fellow victim of racism, black male, and it's a system, a global system of people who classify themselves as white and are dedicated to dominating, subjugating, and mistreating everyone they classify as non-white. Do you think that we are in a system of racism and white supremacy?
Oh yeah.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. That's the first question. And then the second question is how old were you when you were placed in greater confinement, aka prison?
25.
25. So you spent more of your existence in greater confinement than outside of greater confinement.
Yes.
Do you are you familiar with the term institutionalized?
Yes.
Do you feel like you have been institutionalized?
A little bit.
All right, yeah. All right. So prior to your to being incarcerated, how did you feel about white people?
Didn't really, because I never really came in contact with them unless it was the police.
Mm. And prior to your incarceration, how did you feel about Black people?
I love them, but I was still trying to hurt them too.
Mm. How were you spending your time and energy before you were placed in greater confinement?
My time and energy was basically being part of a gang, selling drugs, robbing, stealing. That was, but I had a different route that I didn't take, and that was with my uncle learning how to drive trucks, work on them, you know.
Mm. So do you know what led you to spend your time and energy doing those misbehaving in that manner with the gang banging and whatnot?
But yeah, I later on come to the conclusion that after the death of my mother, I was looking for a way out, and I didn't know how to express myself to my family. And so instead of me talking, I let my actions be my words, and they was bad. Instead of me sitting trying to get a little knowledge, I went the wrong way. I started doing the dumb stuff. I stereotype myself as to I can't learn. Uh, I never get out of this hole that I put myself in, and I thought this was the life when it wasn't.
Wow. Mr. Sir, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, thanks for answering the questions and taking time out of your schedule to be here with us today, Mr. Sloan. My question is, growing up, were there any examples of people who took alternative routes towards when I say alternative routes, I mean people in your community, Black people who were doing other things to sustain themselves. And my second question is, what kind of role model?
Let's let him ask one question, and then you can ask the second question.
All right, perfect.
Okay, you say your first question was what now, dear?
My first question were what kind of I guess I'll just combine the questions together. What kind of role models and examples did you have growing up in your life?
Well, my best role model to me at that time was my grandfather. You know, he taught me what it means to have a family, and he kept us together. Regardless of whatever we was doing. That Sunday, I wouldn't care what you was into or who you was. He made sure that you come by there and see him. You know what I'm saying? And that kept the family together. I mean, I had an uncle that had trucks, buses, you know, had his own little business, trying to get his little business going, that made me go to school to be a diesel mechanic, which I got certified in, and learned how to drive, how to fix them. You know, they was my role model. I just couldn't accept the slow money, is what I call slow money, the money that you really work for. And I stuck to the life that I knew, where I can get easy money or fast money. And it led me to where I end up going.
Wow. How did you end up in prison? And what I mean by that is what were you sentenced for? And if you'd like to elaborate on that.
I was sentenced to 34 to life for first degree murder and 3 attempted murders. What occurred was a robbery going bad. The person that we were supposed to rob wasn't there, and the person that was there wasn't that person, but end up he getting shot and us shooting at other folks. They gave us the murder for the person that could die and the 3 attempts for the other people that didn't get shot, but we tried to shoot.
And what were your thoughts when you were handed that sentence and you were placed in greater confinement and it set in that you were going to be here for quite a while? What was going through your head?
I was thinking this was bullshit because I didn't pull the trigger to take a life. I never understood the law, and that's what a lot of us don't understand is these people write these laws to really keep us down. But if we don't know about them, you know, in the long term, it'll hurt us. Me getting that sentence, I gave up. I didn't think I'd ever see streets again. You know, I just gave up, really.
Mm. And then how would you describe prison culture? How do people spend their time and energy in prison?
Let's see, time and energy. Well, I mean, you know, they got a little, if you want to go to school, you know, get your GED or your high school diploma. They have college courses if you want to venture into that. They give you little benefits. You know, they got the prison industry that I was involved in, which is called PIA, where you make furniture. They had where they making chairs. They got places where they make the clothes for the inmates to wear. They got other little stuff, right? I mean, you know, then like most dudes, when you don't have a job, you're on the yard a lot. You get in trouble on being on the yard a lot because it's a lot of little racial tension as far as this belong to us and this belong to me. You know, when it don't belong to you at all, it belongs to them. But dudes don't look at it like that. But most of the time it's spent, a lot of dudes go to work or be on the yard, exercise, you know, or out on the yard shooting the shit and talking about the past. Is basically what you hear about the past. There's nothing about the future. You know, how you gonna change yourself or how you gonna bring some light to this situation.
Thanks so much for answering the question. My question is, It goes back to prison culture.
Yeah.
33 years is a lifetime for some people. And it appears that the system of white supremacy did a good job because it strategically attempts to eradicate black males by the age of 25 if possible by killing them or putting them in greater confinement. So my question to you is what kind of things allowed you to maintain your will to live while you were in greater confinement, basically? Like I'm imagining you had to do a lot of basically mental programming. You have to really guide your mind in a certain way to survive. So I'm kind of curious to learn about how you kind of did that.
Well, my thing was that, you know, I kind of like gave up, but this was my world now, you know. So whatever went on in my world here, uh, and what I mean by here in confinement, right, was I had to see tomorrow, and the only way I could see tomorrow was to go along with what the majority of us had planned, and our plan was always to see tomorrow. And I mean, it was like the riots, you know, racial riot between the blacks and the browns, or the blacks and the whites, you know, it was do them before they do you. And that was bad because shit was started over small stuff. And what I mean small stuff, you know, they might have two basketball courts on the yard. And you got 1,500 men out here, you know, and don't nobody know how to divide this court where everybody can enjoy this. You know, somebody want to have this side instead of that side, or we should have a whole court and all this. So that was where the things come in with the dumb stuff. I call dumb stuff. You know, instead of us sitting there and amongst us as the confined people to come to agreement that, you know, okay, y'all can play this day, we play the next day. Oh, y'all play this hour, we get the next half. You know, we didn't know how to do that. It was either they think they taking something or they give, you know, and it's a mind game as they allow us to hurt each other and not teach us a better way. And for us not to learn a better way on our own too, you know, they was calling it job security by allowing us to have rides. You know, some was, I mean, you know, it was wild. It was really stupid that if a person look at it now that's on the out and that they've been there and looking in now, you know, I would tell the brothers that it's a better way, you know. I mean, educate yourself a little more better if that's what you want to do. Uh, take the opportunity to take the little job skills that they're trying to provide you, uh, and just better yourself. Learn a little something, you know. But living in there, you had to do what you had to do to see tomorrow, and whatever that may be, that's what you have to do, you know. And it's wrong because sometimes they put us up against each other, and that be up against another man that want to live like you want to live is ridiculous.
Um, so when you were first entering the greater confinement, the prison,
Yeah.
how was the indoctrination process? Because you said it was racialized, and it was racialized violence. amongst the whites, blacks, and the browns.
Right.
So how do you get indoctrinated with the rules and the politics? How do
I
you
mean,
kind of learn the ropes?
with me, for me, I was a gang member, uh, ex gang banger, because you don't bang in the prison no. The Bloods and Crips are one because you're a black. It's you either run with your color or you by yourself. And if you by yourself, you're a victim. So you get with this crowd because of what might happen. Everybody, the browns, the whites, all of them. You had to sit with your people uh, in order to really survive. You know, but don't get me wrong. You meet other people from other races that's having the same similar thing that you done went through. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get that friendship going, and then you can be able to share a little bit amongst your crowd. But you still have people that want to be that separation, and everybody in California prison system is separated, is segregated. And what I mean, they got all the blacks stay with the blacks, the browns stay with the browns, the whites stay with the whites, the Asians stay with the Asians, and the others, which are the Paisas, the Salvadorians, and all them, they stay together, you know. But this is what I would say the white man really started, and he allowed this to go on for so-called job security, you know. They don't, if we was to get together, and one time we got together and had a spread on the yard, and it was for everybody, regardless of where you was from or whatever, what color you was. Everybody was invited to this spread, and they laid the yard down. They made us all lay down on the yard because they didn't want to see us come together as one, and it was crazy. And then then you go the next day. Not to make a long story short, the next day they tried to start something between the races so that we won't have this togetherness no more. It's a way to keep conflict, to put it in people's eyes that we all killers and murderers and we don't never deserve to be out. So this is justify the sentencing that they give us. This justify the confinement that they put us in. This can justify the the taking away from a family. Everybody needs family. You need a bond. You need somebody there that you can cry to. You need somebody there that can hold you. You need somebody there that can listen to you. And they try to keep that away from
Greetings, Mr. Sloan.
you. Greedy.
Hello. Hi, this is Helen B. My question for you, thank you for your time and energy.
Yes.
How many times were you moved around while in greater confinement, meaning different prisons?
I went to my 33, I think I went to 6 different institutions. Now, by me being moved like that is they have a point system. And when I first started, I had 75 points, I think it was, or it might have been more. And by my points being that high, I was placed in what they call a level 4, high security, maximum security. Uh, then as years go on, if you not getting in trouble, not getting right up, your points go down, you'll be moved to a lower level, which is a level 3. I went to a 3. I moved around 1, 2, 3 times in the 3. And after that, I settled down and I end up in the level 2. And the level 2 is less controlling. You kind of more a little freer to move around when you like. Is the level 2 that I first was introduced to was a dorm setting where you share a bed area with uh, 9 other people in a cubicle, and you can move around the building. You're not in no cell. There's nothing being locked up. Only the front door is locked where you can't get out. Other than that, it was all right. It was all right. It was different, but it was all right.
Were you ever placed in solitary confinement?
Oh yeah, I've been to the hole, which is what they call the hole. I did 7 terms in the hole. I've been to the hole 7 times.
And what was the longest you were in the hole?
I did a year and a half by myself. You in the cell by yourself. Sometimes you get a cellie, but I was fortunate not to get a cellie for a year and a half. And sometimes it's, I say, me, myself, I would say it was cool. But then sometimes it's like you need that human connection, somebody else to speak to. And I mean, but it was all right. It was all right.
Do you remember any of your thoughts you would have when you were in solitary confinement alone?
Oh yeah, I can't do this shit no more. Excuse my words. I used to sit up and I dream about the past. I reminisce on the past because that's all I had. I couldn't see a future. It was no future. It was the past. Where I went wrong, why I do that. It was too late to say that now. Now it's about what I could do if I was ever to be released. What would I do? Would I go back to that lifestyle? Would I try to build that life again?
And yeah, I just want to make a brief comment. Unfortunately, in the system of white supremacy, many Black people choose a so-called lifestyle that is actually a death style, because I don't see us as living. I see us as existing because of our conditions on planet Earth. I wouldn't call this living. I wouldn't call your experiences living. You're simply existing. And white people have done a masterful job at controlling us. And what you've been sharing is really significant because you have great insight on how they operate this business of white supremacy. When the inmates attempted to minimize conflict, what did the white people do who ran the prison? They tried to they wanted to promote the conflict because they know that conflict amongst people, especially non-white people, is how they keep this business going. They want us focused on conflict with each other and not focused on solving this problem. So I'm already learning a lot from this interview. So I want to thank you again for being here with us.
No problem.
And my another question I have is how are Black people treated in greater confinement?
Well, let's say, how could I put this? I mean, it's the same. I mean, don't. I mean, you have, let's say, excuse the noise. You have we would say, the dirty white boy, right? You have the brown. You have the blacks. I mean, they treated us as uh, today I need to treat you like a dog, but tomorrow I need to treat you like a queen. You know, today I need you to be that mad dog. So, I mean, you know, they push a button in you to do that, to be this mad dog. And then tomorrow or next week, I need you to be this queen now. I need you to be that soft person. I don't need the mad dog out no more. I need this tame animal that I can put in front of somebody to show, oh, we doing a beautiful job. You know, it's really hard to say, but you know, you allow somebody to treat you the way you want to be treated. In other words, if you want a person to treat you with respect, you know, they also say you got to give respect to receive respect. You know, if I treat you with respect, you're not gonna come at me in a dumb way, you know, or a disrespectful way. You know, I got to find somebody else to do that to, and that's basically what they do. They pick who they know or who they think they can get to be disrespectful to, you know, but they treat everybody basically the same way in some form or fashion. You everybody that's in confinement will be treated the same way, you know. The not being able to go to your, not being able to go out here to use a phone to contact your loved one, or they don't want you to write nobody right now. You know, your mail is here. You know, it's all kind of stuff they do to you. But there is no specific one group. I would say it's everybody that confine that's in confinement is going to be treated somewhat the same. And why I say somewhat is they might take this group of people and treat them that way. They might take this group of people and treat them that way. You know, they pick what they want to do.
Okay. And this is a comment from the chat from Rael. And he says, you asked him, was he institutionalized? We must remember all people of color are institutionalized. And that is accurate. That is very accurate. We all have been very brainwashed, AKA brain trashed, led to be very confused about how this planet operates. So another question I have is, so did you observe white people being treated better in greater confinement?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
in what way?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you might get a little longer family visit than what another person might get. Or your people might come up there and they'll turn them around, but his people is allowed to come. You know, I mean, and it worked both ways though. But see, this is where the control and the bullshit starts. Because now this week it might be against him, where my people will come in and his can't. You know, I mean, it's a game they play, and it's not. And when you say controlling, I mean they control everything that we done there in the reality, but our sleep. You know, because you can go to sleep whenever you like, or whenever your body feels like it needs to go to sleep. But they made the control for your some of your thinking. You know, if you allow them to really get in your brain, uh, they made the control on when you're supposed to eat. You know, at a certain time you got to eat. At a certain time you got to stand up for count. You know, I mean, it was weird, but it was a experience that I wouldn't wish on nobody. to this day. I wouldn't care what you do. I mean, my only thing, if you hurt a kid, it's something different. But as for the adults, you know, I couldn't see nobody being confined for that period of time, and the losing of your loved ones that you can't say goodbye to, and be confined like that, or not allowed to go to that, is really hard.
So you mentioned the race riots.
Yeah.
And I like to some more insight on what those looked like and what was going on during those conflicts.
Ooh, what they look like? How would I describe a riot? All right. The melee at the Capitol, uh, at the Capitol.
January 6th?
Yeah. Just picture, instead of that one group, just picture two groups like that together in the middle of a yard with homemade weapons I made out of cups, razor blades on toothbrushes, melted on toothbrushes and stuff like that. You have people slashing and trying to poke you. Then you have the powers of be in a tower shooting at you with a mini 14, where it's nowhere to duck, nowhere to hide, you know, and people getting hit, you know, arms taken off, getting killed, kids. They're killing them, shooting them in the head, you know. That's something that I wouldn't wish for nobody to see, or nobody to ever have to experience something like that. A ride ain't nothing nice, you know, because dudes are going out to hurt each other to take a life. And we're not supposed to be taking lives, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I don't imagine that these riots just popped out of nowhere. There had to be like days before. People must have been like understanding that a riot's about to go down. So can you describe like that energy that probably had to be going around the prison, that we're about to have a riot? How did that feel like, knowing that something like that is about to take place?
Scary, very scary, because you don't know if your life's gonna be taken away. Right? I mean, you know, you hear. I mean, it builds up, like how you say it build up. It can be an incident at school where a guy, a black and a brown, or a black and a white, whatever, get into it, and then it goes on to the yard. Oh man, that was my homeboy. I gotta go follow my homeboy. I can't accept that, you know. And it's scary. It's really scary, because you know it's gonna happen. And I'm gonna be able to live to see tomorrow, after this over with, or whenever this ride is over with, you know. Right now they having a problem with the Hispanics, the Bulldogs in the South Side. You know, it's something that's going on right to this day, and it won't stop, and they can't stop it until then both sides agree to stop it.
Wow. And you said that the Bulldogs and the who?
South Side, which are Southern Hispanic.
All right, and the Bulldogs, are they classified as black? Are they
No, they're Hispanic.
all
They're
right, so
Hispanics too.
all right, so two possibly non-white groups. Because with that term Hispanics, sometimes they could be white Hispanics or they could be non-white Hispanics. So
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah, my question is regarding to some of the relationships that you had while in greater confinement, how they come about and kind of what they consist of. And this could be like someone you talk to, someone who you share books with. Can you give us a little bit information about how those relationships form and what they consist of?
Yes. I mean, the craziest thing though, my time in my little 33 years, blacks always had a war with the South Side. Some kind of way, we always bump heads and start a little ride. Uh, I went to a group uh, from, uh, I was classified as triple CMS,
What does
which
that
is,
mean?
let's see, let me put it, triple CMS is for your mental health. I ain't gonna say I was crazy, I was taking medication or anything like that, because I wasn't. Uh, it helps you. I went there because the board recommended that I have some kind of therapy. I go talk to somebody to let my feelings out. And there was a gentleman in this group that listening to his war stories as well as me telling mine, we was somewhat similar, but he was Hispanic and I was black, you know. And we, I don't know, it was just a connection. And we got to talking more and more. And it was uh it was more like uh to me it felt like a brother, you know. I just found a lost brother, you know, and we got together, we started hanging out a lot, you know. People would see us on the yard, us two walking and talking and shit all the time. If I went to canteen, he was standing around. I asked him what if he needs something, you know. Then he'd play that those "oh I'm good" kind of role, but I'll buy a bunch of shit, give it to him anyway, and he'd do the same to me when he go, you know. And it was just this relationship really became because we was in this group together, you know, sharing our, like I say, war stories, our past, and just kind of fell together, you know. That kind of help you a little, or I need to go a little further.
No, that was great. My second question is more about the perceptions. A lot of films, TV shows, and books often have like homosexual activity and anti. Uh, did you see any of that
I
while
mean,
you
it's
were
there. Yes, sir. It's there.
that
Not to cut
real?
you. No, no. Give me. Yeah, I mean, it's there. I mean, you have men that are homosexuals, or I hope I'm not saying this wrong to get nobody mad at me. Uh, but are gay, right? And that's what they prefer, another man. You know, if that's what you're into, you know, you can be into that. You know, everybody's not into that. You know, they walk around like everybody else. They're men. They can't be at a women's institution, so they have to be at a men's institution like they are a man. You born a man, you gonna be with men. Uh, dudes, it wasn't no. If that's what you into, you hang out with that. You know, you can have a gay person in your cell with you if you like. You know, I don't know. I mean, you know, that's a little crowd that I wasn't trying to venture. But I mean, you see it. You see it. You know, it's right there in your face. It's just like you walking up and down the street.
Mr. Sloan,
Yes.
what was the food like in greater confinement?
It started off good. No, but it's how can I say it? I worked in the kitchen. Uh, you prepare everything in big pots. You know, some days is good. I put it this way: some days is good, and some days it ain't. It's according to what you have. You know, they like at first started off. You know, we used to get a quarter piece of a chicken. The breast, what is it? The breast thigh and drumstick. You know, they used to give us that. It used to be big portions, in other words, and then they start going to little portions. You know, where you'll get the little burritos like how they used to serve in school, the little bitty burritos. They give you one of them and tell you to eat that and you good, you know, a scoop of rice that's stuck together. I mean, the food is prepared by inmates with a supervisor cook over you trying to, you know, I ain't gonna say tell you how to do it, but will show you sometimes show you how to do it, or another inmate to show you how to cook it. And it's cooked in pans, big pans, uh, where that you got to feed a bunch of people, so you can't cook small portions. So you have some of the food that's overcooked, you have some of the food that's cooked right, and you have some that's raw. To be real, it just looks like it's cooked. Yeah, help you out a little bit.
What was the, yes, yes, it did. Thank you for the detail. What was the worst thing? Like, yeah, what was the worst thing that they served in the kitchen?
Ooh, let's see. What was the worst thing? Uh, they had this uh chicken fajita junk where now they crazy with this onions and bell pepper stuff, right? They look like they dropped a whole onion in it and let it just peel from itself. And when you get the tray, it's juice and just these big slices of onions and bell peppers, you know, and I'm not wild about either one of them cooked or raw. Really, I can eat raw onions, but not bell peppers. But it's just it's garbage. I mean, it's a waste of your time to even try to go to the child, you know. But you have dudes that don't have the financial support or whatever, or the little jobs that they do give you there, you know, to have the means to have something in their cell where they can eat. So you have to go.
So wow. So you get into greater confinement when you are 25. How long was it until you experienced um just the some of the things that can happen in prison, like the just some of the violence that can happen in prison? How long were you in there before you observed someone being
Day,
shanked or beat down or something like that?
day one. Day one. You see that in the county jail. You just don't see it in prison. I mean, it happens in confinement, period. You know, you see it. I mean, you know, this is where let's say the confined people start they I'm trying to think of a movie that okay, the what was the little kids on the island by themselves?
Uh, um, Lord of the
Uh,
Flies.
Lord of the Flies. You see how they wanted to control who was gonna be the shot caller, who was gonna be that. That's
Mm.
confinement. That's confinement.
Mm.
You know, it's a power thing. You know, that's why people group up. You know, it's more powers than numbers. So That's what dudes do in confinement. We need a big number. That number might dwindle when the shit hit the fan, but right now I got 100 people behind me. But out this 100 people, only 20 people might be down for losing their life. So, but right now I got 100 people, so I look like I'm the big guy. That's all.
Mm. So it seems like there's a lot of people in greater confinement during your time there who may have felt like they ran the prison, but it was really racist men and racist women in charge.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So did you ever observe any males inmates coming in there who were not countersexual, aka homosexual or gay? Did you ever observe any males that came into greater confinement that were straight and they were forced into anti-sexual behaviors?
No.
No.
I'm gonna tell you this. All right. You have people that come in and claim that they straight, don't mess around, right? But when when the lights go off, the freaks come out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have dudes that say that they don't do this, but then when the lights is out, you over there, you doing that. I mean, it's what a person want to do. I mean, don't nobody force you to do nothing. It ain't no that rape shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, dudes were. I mean, I knew a few people that were called booty bandits. That went and took people booty, but it's nobody just being forced like that anymore. It's what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, that's on you. You know. But back in the day, it was that. I'm really saying, and I mean a little bit before my time, before I got in, but I knew a few dudes that were called booty bandits.
Wow. This is a question from the chat. And this lady wants to know if your parents, your attempted parents, failed you.
No, my parents never failed me. My mother died when I was 13. My father had his own other little family. I went to stay with him for a little while, but I didn't never feel comfortable. I never felt part of that. I'm the oldest out of my father's kids. I'm the only child from my mother. So I didn't want to be around him and his little family. So I tried to go around my mother's family. And basically my mother's father raised me.
Yeah. See, with my understanding that we are in a global system of white supremacy, which is essentially a slave ship or a giant prison that we are all in. I don't think victims like myself and everyone on this call, I don't think we have the opportunity to be in functional families, which is why I use the term survival unit or victim unit, because my victim mother herself, she lost her victim mother at a really early age, and that's just the reality of racism, white supremacy. Being classified as Black kind of means you don't have any friends or family because you're not allowed to have them, because at any moment they can be taken away, and we really don't have the means to defend so-called families or whatnot. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, in a way, I look back at it as this too, for us as a Black race. We need to take the opportunity that the so-called powers to be is the education. Learn something. Just don't sit on your ass. You know, that commercial used to be that mine is a terrible thing to waste. It is.
Still is, yeah.
So we need to. I'm not gonna force a person to go to school because I'm not a school person. I don't want to like sit near somebody telling me you need to read this or you need to pronounce this the right way and all that shit. I'm not that kind of way. But I need you to be able to use your mind in a way to not just I need to make some quick money. You need to be able to take this and use that brain to like, all right, I need to make this amount of money, but I needed to make it the right way so that when the powers to be come sweat you about yours, it's legit. It's not something that you gotta hide, or I can't put it in the bank, or I can't have it right here because it's not what I'm supposed to have. I mean, I want people to understand, man. It's doors open for us if we take that test and build on teaching somebody else to take that chance to step in that door, and maybe we could change some of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just takes time.
Correct. Yeah. I don't use with my understanding and looking at the evidence, there's no such thing as a black race because white people are the people who created race. So we have been classified as this race. We have been classified as black. So at best, we are just a collective of people who are called black by racist men and racist women who are all white. But we don't have the power to use our race for our benefit like white people do, which is why it's best for us to understand that there's only one race, and that's the white race. I think you hit it right on the nail with what Black people need to do. I'm just gonna try to just translate it for you a little bit. I feel like you're saying that Black people need to learn how to solve problems, need to learn how to learn valuable skills like welding or electric work or plumbing, carpentry, mechanical work, stuff like that, instead of we can make money that way and not by attempting to poison the community with poisoning Black people, because we don't have communities either, but poisoning other Black people with drugs and harming them by robbing them and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Excellent. So go ahead, Ms. B.
How was the medical treatment while you were in greater confinement?
That was dope. I mean, they help to a certain extent. You have what they call provider care. I might be saying it wrong, but the so-called doctor is not, well, he's a medical doctor, true enough, but his hands is only tied to certain things. Using me, I have a rash in my pirate area that's been spreaded and everything. I got the rash 2002. It is 21, and it's still a problem. I was sent out twice. My first time, I went out twice to see a skin doctor, and I was supposed to go back, but the institution wouldn't send me back. So they sent me to a doctor on TV, where he wouldn't let me look at it. Huh? How you gonna look at it on TV? So they take this little camera and they, oh, it just look like you got a fungus and we're gonna try this cream. That cream didn't work. We're gonna try this shot. That shot didn't work. Well, when one doctor, well, they sent me out again, and the doctor say, well, I want to do a biopsy. So they cut a little piece of skin, take a plug, and they come back. Oh, you don't have cancer. You know, cancer wasn't the issue. It's this rash. This rash is not a cancer. It's something, you know. But then to bring back to the doctor's there, it's you have some medical teams that's there, like the little nurses that are there now. They're not correctional officers anymore. They real nurses, RVN, RN, that really want to help you. Then you have some that don't. They don't care, you know, because some dudes play medical for excuse not to go to work or go to school or just want to lay up on their butt. So, but overall and all, you know, they got a little. I give them a 10 being the greatest. I give them a 7 on medical.
Mr. Sloan, everything that you're describing when it comes to greater confinement is exactly what's going on outside, so-called outside here. I just want to
Yeah.
let you know that.
But yeah, I'm experiencing it too now. I'm in where the board released me to a drug and alcohol program, and the other day, I had a moment where I threatened to walk out, and I had to call my parole officer before I walk out, and he threatened to send me back to prison if I was to leave this program. I explained to him I just did 33 years, and to be in this program, I had no problem about doing the program. I had no problem about when you asking for urine samples and all that. I had no problem with that. But my problem is I'm confined to a little motel room with no entertainment. And you want me to stay in this room 6 days a week and you give me 1 day of freedom for 6 hours. I have a problem because you told me I was free. I was free from my confinement, but now I'm back in confinement again, a different way of confinement, you know. I mean, I understand I'm not trying to jump out there in the world because I've been gone so long, full speed, full head of speed and all that, but still, I need to step out longer than 6 hours. You know, I have family that's in different areas with a little distance that I can't see, you know, and it's this is where the institutionalized, where I say that I think I am and I think I'm not, but I had that thought of just going back, and it'll be easy because then I know where I can go, where I can't go, who's gonna come see me, who ain't gonna see me, you know. But here, I'm able to look out of a window at a park that I can't even go to. I watch cars scream by. I know you heard the noise, you know, that I can't even step outside of these gates to see, you know. So it's I don't know. That's why I say I don't know if I'm institutionalized. I know I'm not. I'm not gonna even put that in my mind. I'm not institutionalized, but I had that thought of yesterday of just going back, really just going back, you know, where that I don't know, I felt comfortable. And that's bad because I don't want to ever feel comfortable being somebody telling me when to go to bed, or what you can eat, when you can eat, or if you can even make it to what we call canteen is our store to buy something to eat, or me trying to figure out if I have finances to get something to eat. So I mean, I hope I answered you a little bit. I hope I didn't drag it the wrong way. You know.
No, can I just want to chime in because you said a lot of constructive things. I just want to just let you know that the industrial prison complex is designed to recycle black males. So what you're experiencing is all by design, and the thoughts about going back is part of the treatment. Um, the most constructive advice I can give you is to from Dr. Francis Cress Rosing. And no fussing, no fighting, no complaining. Just do your best to escape from the program by doing what they tell you to do, and being eventually you'll be able to. I'm pretty sure it's a time program, not
Yeah.
ever. But yeah, it's designed to antagonize you and dehumanize you.
Right.
You shouldn't take it personal. You shouldn't let your emotions control your actions either. I do have a question as well.
Uh-huh.
When you were in greater confinement, did you have any moments that kind of altered, like I guess changed your life, like life-changing moments? Or it could be you witnessed something, or you were told something, or like any epiphanies while in greater confinement?
Oh yes. My first my first time at Pelican Bay. We come out to the yard and we walking around the yard, and they say, man, it's gonna be a sticky, so watch yourself. And it's like, all right. And this dude that was this guy's friend stuck him. I mean, just walking around the yard, he stuck him. And I was like, wow, really? This supposed to be your friend. This is the person that you done sat with, ate with, y'all done sit and joke, play cards or whatever, uh, lift weights together, come out here, play ball or whatever together. And you taking his life, and I think that was my wake up call to really distance myself from who I really messed with, uh, who I really considered as being my friend, my homeboy. Uh, it was experience that it scared me to realize that somebody I call my friend would do something to me like that. That help you out?
Yes, it did. Very, very, very insane situation. Um,
Yeah, and if I understand correctly, you witnessed a inmate kill
His friend,
his
his so-called friend.
wow, super tragic. And yeah, that kind of segues into my question is like what kind of conflict with other inmates, black, white, brown, what sort of conflict did you experience with other inmates in greater
Me?
confinement?
all kind, all kind. I mean, let's say you only can get off the bunk one side, one way and one way other. only. People used to say, "Oh, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed." I mean, I didn't have incidents. Well, all right, we do it at work. I was the lead man in the furniture factory, and I was telling the dude that was doing the last touch up before the furniture is shipped to the warehouse. I'm like, this is not finished. He tell me it is. I say, well, okay. I'm telling you it's not finished, and I can show you where it's not finished at. So when I did that, instead of me, I'm gonna say instead of me doing it myself and just leaving it alone, I think I kind of wanted to edge it on because I really wanted to see how far this dude really wanted to take this, and I think I was looking for a conflict. So I was like pointing stuff out, and I said, "Well, you need to do this." And he looked at me like, "Dude, you really like trying to order me to do something?" And I took it a little further and got the name called, and because I didn't like how he used to want to play your friend one day, or this week you my buddy, you want to talk to me, and then next week you know you got an attitude like I did something to you or something, you know. So I wanted to, I asked it on, I asked it on, and I told him we can go in the back where there ain't no cameras because they have cameras now in the shop. So I like we got a little blind spot. We go back here in the back, no trip, you know. It's gonna be nice. And they stopped me though. They wouldn't allow me to go back in the back. But I mean, I done had conflicts where weapons was involved, fist fight. You know, some of the time I went to the hole for weapons, but it was I thought at the time it was a survival thing, and it wasn't a survival thing. It was a dumb thing. It was I cannot put it, man. It was just stupid, you know, for me, for me to, for me to take, for me to try to take a life. I ain't gonna say for me to take a life, but for me to try to take someone's life. It was dumb, you know, and I allowed the system to work me that way, you know, because I ain't gonna say the system. I allowed my peers to work me that way, you know, people that was around me, you know, oh man, you got to do that, you got to do this. No, you don't, you know, uh, and it was bad. It was really bad, you know. But I mean, I went through a few scrapes, learned a lot. I think through them scrapes that I wouldn't do it today. I mean, I think that I'm a different person today. I would hesitate to put a weapon in my hand. Uh, I would think I would think a little bit before because I know what the outcome today. Back then, I didn't know what the outcome was. That's why I ended up doing 33 years. I really didn't care about the outcome, but now I do. That help you? Or did I fly throw something?
I thought that was an excellent response. Ms. B, were you gonna ask the question?
Yes. What kind of books or yeah, what books did you read while you were in greater confinement?
I had to do a lot of reading. Uh, and that's a trip because at Pelican Bay they had a lovely library. And what I mean by a lovely library, from Donald Goins to autobiographies by Malcolm X, all kind of stuff. I mean, the librarian there was really on for us to have books for everybody's culture. I mean, you had something to read from the Indians to the whites to everything. You know, I stayed basically my first 5 years were in law books. You know, I wanted to learn law. I even got uh, I became a paralegal that I don't use today, but I became a paralegal. I couldn't, let's see, how can I put this? Because a girl told me once that I write the way I talk. Because somebody have wrote a love letter using nothing but song in this letter. And I wrote it and sent it to her. And she asked me, she said, "Who wrote this?" I said, "I wrote it. Don't you see my writing?" She said, "No, you didn't write this because you don't talk like this." You know, so for me to learn to be a paralegal, I couldn't write the law, but I can research it better than I can write it. And to me, that's bad. This is where I say a mind is a terrible thing to waste because I allowed myself to waste my mind and not be able to form words in a proper way. But the library, they had all kind of books. I mean, you have a choice of books. Now, certain institutions don't have that privilege uh, of having books like that anymore because, well, I know they was taking the law books out of where I was at last because they was putting everything on the computer, you know. But some institutions have nice libraries. You can read whatever you like.
Wow. Okay, so with that being said, you mentioned how other opportunities inmates have to spend their time and energy. How are you spending your time and energy in greater confinement? Like, what was your day-to-day existence like?
My my day to day, let's see, I basically work. You know, whatever job I had, I go do that. Afterwards,
What were the kind of jobs?
well, I started off as being a porter, which is cleaning the building, uh, cleaning the shower area, the little day rooms that we had. Uh, I went from that to being a table wipe in the kitchen, wiping the tables after you get up from eating so somebody else can sit down. Uh, from that to being a linebacker in the kitchen, which is to make sure that on the food line, serving line, that they never run out of certain stuff. Make sure that I replace everything. To being a lead cook, preparing the meals, preparing the food, really. Then left out of that, my best job I ever really liked was working optical, where I learned how to make glasses, uh, prescription glasses for people. Reading what a doctor put on a piece of paper and taking a lens, forming it, cutting it, grinding it to that power that they needed to be able to see, and shaping it and putting it in the frame. Uh, Me working though kept me out of a lot of stuff. It kept me off the yard, you know. Like I said before, the yard is a headache. That's where all the stuff really starts. But it kept me, that was my busy time. At night, really, sometimes I'll probably go out to the night yard. Sometimes I didn't. If I'm trying to use the phone, most of the time stay in the cell. watch a little TV or something, or fix myself some a little meal, uh, and just call it a night.
What was the pay like for the different jobs that you had? What was like the highest and the lowest?
The lowest was the kitchen. You only got 8 cents an hour. The highest I made was $1 an hour. That was at PIA as being the lead man.
Wow, that's super, super incorrect, but that's what 13th Amendment is all about, I suspect. I want to comment on well, first I want to ask a question. Is your probation officer a white person?
My parole officer? No,
Yeah.
he's black. He's black.
The black male.
Yeah.
All right. And dealing with your parole officer, I would suggest just you coming up with questions to ask him regarding the rules of your probation, because it's very incorrect that you are not allowed to go across the street and do some quality thinking in a park. And so I think I would suggest to you to come up with some questions and as to why you are not allowed to do something as simple as going across the street, and like what is the what is the constructive results you're receiving from being placed on the 6-day routine? Like what are the constructive benefits you're receiving from that? Because it doesn't seem like um yeah, it doesn't seem like the many are coming from that. And also you know, you you don't have a record of being an alcoholic or a drug user. Am I correct?
Right.
So, why are you it's just a lot of questions I would recommend that you ask to your parole officer. And unfortunately, in the system of white supremacy, many Black people do not have a clue that we are in a system of white supremacy at all. So I just wanted to comment on that, and I hope that you get some correct treatment from your parole officer, because you already did 33 years in greater confinement. You shouldn't be under what seems like to be even more intense confinement, because at least in greater confinement you're going out, you had an opportunity to go out to the yard every day if you wanted to, but now you just seem to be confined in a place. And if he can't offer you any like limiting your confinement in that motel room, then maybe he can compensate you by providing you with some access to go to the library, or access with a tablet or a TV, even though I think Black people should be studying and learning versus watching TV. But yeah.
Yeah.
We do have more questions. But oh yeah. Go ahead, Ms. B, and then I'll get some questions from the chat.
Mr. Sloan, can you describe your cells, the different cells that you were in? Can you describe them for us, please?
Cells. Let's see. What they say is 6 by 8. What's the cell size? 6 by 8. By 10. Yeah. All right. You could take spread your arms out like you want to fly, and you touch one wall and take a step and a half over, and you'll touch the other wall. You have 2 bumps, one on top of the other one, bolted to the wall. You have 2 metal lockers, well, 2 metal cabinets, 4 metal cabinets. Well, what it is like, how can I describe this thing? All right, just say a square box, right, with a split down the middle, and another one crossing to have 4 little compartments for yourself, which is bolted to the wall. It's a desk with a little stool at one end, all the way to the back of the wall. At the front, the entrance to the cell will be where the toilet and the sink is, which is all one. That's about it. You know, some cells are with bar doors. Then they got some with the honeycomb door. Uh, and then they have some with just solid metal doors with a window, a little window, like a window that's about 4 inches wide and about 3 feet long, and that's it.
I had a simple, quick question, if you don't mind, O5.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, were you ever called the N word in greater confinement?
Yes and no.
Could you explain this?
Huh?
So could you explain? Like, when I say N word, I mean nigger.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Once when me and the officer got into it, he called me the N word. Uh, it was more of not being around somebody when he said it. You know, it was like him and his little buddy. You know, it was never,
Was it a white male?
yes, it was never said with the higher up. And what I mean by higher up, a sergeant, lieutenant, or a captain, it was never said by one of them, right? It was more of the foot soldiers, the ones, the guard, the lower guard. Uh, you know, and it's with his buddy, you know, where you think you tough, you know, where all 5 of y'all gonna jump on just me, you know. It ain't by yourself. No, nothing by yourself. None of them will ever say that by themselves to a person. You know, I had it more from inmates than I would say staff.
When
Uh,
say inmates, you mean brown and white inmates?
well, yeah. And when you hear it come from them, you know it's gonna start something.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Very helpful information.
I mean,
Can you go into a bit more on the kind of treatment that you received from the prison guards, the white ones, the black ones, and the brown ones?
I mean, they treated. I mean, each individual was different. I mean, this is who. Now I had white ones that was cool. I had browns that was cool. I had whites that was, you know. I mean, it was certain individuals. I mean, you know, just like out here in society, it's you have some that cover up, that never want you to see the bad side of them. Just like you have some that didn't give a fuck about what you think, you know, because you weren't in a position to do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's just like out here. You know, you had them that hide, and you had them that's out front. You know, from all sides. You know, we had one black officer. He didn't give a shit. I mean, he was a captain. He didn't give a shit. He was for black. You know, when the officer came and oh, this dude is doing this, and he look at you, he's like, hey man, you doing this shit? Like, oh man, dude tripping on me. You know, he get the fuck out my office. You know, and you wouldn't get the write up or something. You know, but he was whole black. I mean, he really stuck with, you know, if you did something wrong and you know you wrong, You can't go to the man and like, oh man, the dude tripping on me, but you know you did this. And but he was, and what I'm trying to say, it wasn't always bagging the officer play. He listened to us, you know, either of us, blacks, whites, Mexicans, he listened to us. We had a white officer do the same. I had a Mexican officer that used to mess with me so much that they used to do searches and take contraband. At the time, contraband was tobacco, right? And he'll bring it back and set it on the table like, hey man, go throw this away. Huh? Why you didn't throw it away? But I already see what it is. You giving me this. You know what I'm saying? So I just take it and run. Uh, you run into like what you run into society. You see it. What's going on in society today is going on in the prison system today. You know, even though it's more confined for us, uh, we see it. You know, we try to run from it, but you can't run nowhere. There's nowhere to run. You're around gates and walls, so you can't run. But we see what's going on behind the gates and the walls is what's going on out here today. Did I say it right?
Well, I don't know what saying it right means. I'm sure you explained it to the best of your abilities. So yeah, that's all that matters here. Here's a question from the chat. I'm just gonna read it. This is from Miss Rate This Record. She wants to know what do you think about Kim Kardashian and the celebrities advocating for certain prisoner causes? And
To
yeah,
me, it's good. You know, I mean, you have people now that's trying to reach out to certain celebrities to ask for help. Now, where I was at, they had Danny Glover come, right? And he's part of a prison reform thing. You know, it's cool that you trying to show dudes a different route. You know what I'm saying? Instead of committing crimes, and, you know, it's a better way to do than your criminal thinking and stuff, right? But I mean, some of them is using it as a hype, you know, to make themselves a little more famous. You know, oh, I'm going to help this prisoner get out. Okay, well, you helping that prison. What about the prisoners that's behind her or the prisoner behind her? You know, you just helping one person. Don't just stop by doing one person. If you gonna do this, and you had a means, this is where all our so-called people, you know, that's got a little something, you know, uh, claim that they want to help us overcome something, but you really don't. You know, I remember a time when Oprah Winfrey used to talk bad about prisoners because she had a lady on it where this white guy took thousands of dollars from this lady. You know what I'm saying? But you down every prisoner in the world for that. But then all of a sudden, when they open Pelican Bay, you want to go up there and that Pelican Bay was designed for the worst of the worst as this hole that they was putting us in, that you was in this cell 23 hours a day by yourself in a concrete cell where they had a portable shower that would roll in front of your door, that they'd crack your door and you jump in this shower, take your shower and jump your ass out and go back in your cell. Now, she wanted to report that this was cruel and unusual punishment by keeping us here. But back in the day, you talked about prisoners misusing people. I mean, it's I look at it as, whatever at that time make somebody feel good or to hype up their little shit. This is the only reason they try to do something for our people, But our people that are in power don't even try to help until it's something that benefits them, you know. And it's bad. It's really bad, you know.
Yeah. I would say that I want to know if you agree or disagree. Do you think that the best thing in any celebrity or any white person, Kim Kardashian is a white woman. Do you think that the best help that can be provided to non-white people, especially Black people, is the production of justice, which is guaranteeing no one is allowed to be mistreated and those who need help receive constructive help? Do you think that would solve a lot of problems?
Yeah, it'll help. It ain't gonna solve the problem. It'll help. What'll solve the problem is ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I mean, ourselves got to see this. And if we don't wake up to what's going on, we're going to be in this rut. So ourselves got to see it first. You can always, how you say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink? It's what we do. Once you learn this, what do you take with it? What do you go do with it? Do you just say, brush it off? Or you keep going forward to teach somebody else up, or to show somebody else up. A lot of people that has this power, this money, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna give nobody my money. That sounds stupid. Why not? It ain't like you ain't gonna get it back. So if you teach somebody how to make something, how you know if that person won't donate to you or donate to your cause? I mean, it's two-way thing.
Yeah, I agree that Black people classified as Black, we should be very serious about producing justice, because that's the only way that it will come here. And if we have a system of justice, that would mean that the system of white supremacy has been eliminated, and there would be no more Mr. Sloans spending 3 decades in greater confinement. There would be no more mistreatment happening on planet Earth. And this is a question from the chat, and you kind of answered it indirectly. But do you feel that do you think that you were over sentenced for your crime?
Oh, yes and no. All right. And the reason I say yes and no, because our so-called forefathers made a law. And back in 76, a life term was 7 years. After 78, 79, they changed the law that a life term means life. And what is life? If you were to go to jail today, serving life and die, you serve life in the penitentiary. You see what I'm saying? But now, the trip part about it is, I used to wonder if a person was to die in prison and they take you to the morgue, and I don't know, they don't put you in the icebox enough, but you dead for 24 hours, and I know they say they supposed to cut you open and all this before they say you legally dead, but a person wake up, do we got to come back to prison to finish his term? Or is he considered dead and gone and a new person? But it was just a say a foolish or a crazy thought, would they really release him? I don't think they would though. I'm pretty sure they'll make him come back, to finish his life term. But I mean, it's weird though. But they changed the law though for life mean life, and our California governor was really pushing life mean life. You know, they put a little number in front, but that number don't mean nothing because the word life is behind it, and they meant to make sure that a person served life.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure that is well, I'm just gonna go on to the thank you for that answer. And this is more questions from Miss Rate This Record. And I'm gonna read her question and her comment because that may give you a better understanding of her question. And she says, does he recognize a difference in appearance and what is referred to as young Black gangsters and thugs? I am insinuating he should recognize they walk around with their pants hanging down, tats, and gayish.
Yes, I recognize what uh, they call gangsters now. I mean, with the straight legs, I mean, how can you? It's weird for me, because when I gang bang, uh, it was sagging, but it wasn't in no fit me jeans that's straight legs and you running around in your pants tight and shit and you showing more ass than what you're supposed to be doing. So it's a lot different than the time. It's the time period. The tattoos, it wasn't a lot of tattoos. You had your hood tatted on you or whatever you was representing, that was it. But now, you see dudes with tattoos all in their face. They think you're cool, but it's that time period. I mean, I know the difference from, I'm going to say this. I know the difference from who I know that's real about what they representing and who's faking the front. Yeah, I know the difference.
And you mentioned the face tats, and is it correct to perceive victims of racism who have the tats all over their faces? Would you describe that as just a more intensified insanity that we are experiencing?
No, I'm gonna say it's like how can I say? I think Tyson said it better. When you see the tat that he got on his face, that it's a culture thing. I went back to my culture and I put this tat on my face. Come on, really, dude? I mean, it's people do it. I'm thinking people do it now just for the hype. You know, it's nothing really glamorous about it. I mean, I'm ugly as it is. Why would I really want to mess up what somebody gave me to put a little ink? I mean, it's bad enough I put ink on my rest of my body, but to put it on my face, But I mean, to each his own. That's what free will is about, right?
Correct, but unfortunately, white people encourage Black culture, which is really just ghetto glorification, and the face tats is I see it as attention seeking and or just a high lack of self of respect, which is refusing to lie to oneself. And Miss
That's
Rachel's
true.
record, she wants to know. Oh, yeah. Miss Rachel's record, she wants to know how does he know the difference between real and faking the funk?
I mean, you can see it. I mean, how can I can't put it in words? I mean, a real person won't uh, show itself. A real gangster won't show itself because he don't want to be known like that. But if you trying to be something that you're not, you gonna come out like, oh, I'm this killer. Look, I got a gun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why would I let you know who I am until you make me show you who I am? Is that? I hope that helps her.
Well, we'll see if she responds over in the chat. So advice, what advice would you give to young Black males who spend their time and energy listening to again, ghetto glorification, which is just noise, often called music that's making them think that going to prison is cool, killing Black people is cool, robbing people is cool? What advice would you give to those Black males and females?
Right now, I tell a dude, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, dude. You got an opportunity. Take heed to this opportunity. I don't care if you use it or not, but learn something. Learn something that'll benefit you, something that you enjoy. Find something to get into. I'm not talking about a box. I'm not talking about having a rag hanging off your ass. Are you sagging? Are you being with this crowd and all that? You know, find something that you're interested in. You know, everybody say sports ain't for us. You know what I'm saying? But if it's sports you want to do that. You know, but don't let these people not let you do what you enjoy. I mean, it's a lot of dudes that enjoy trying to be gangmen or gangbangers, or however you want to name it. You know what I'm saying? But find something that you really enjoy and do it. But I'd rather for you to do it the right way. I don't mean to go out there selling dope. I don't mean to go out there robbing and stealing, taking something that don't belong to you. Go earn your own shit. So you can sit back and really appreciate it. Because the shit that you steal and take from somebody, you can't appreciate it because you're trying to get rid of it. Because it ain't yours. You know, get something that belongs to you. So that little, let's see, everybody got a little, I call them buttons, your card. Call them a button. Stuck back in the day, calling shit buttons. But, you know, you look at dudes with cars now, you know, I look, and the whole society, everybody got these little bitty cars. These little bitty souped up cars with the loud pipes and all that stuff. You know, get you one. Get you one that belongs with you. Something that belongs to you. And let somebody take it from you. How you feel? You feel like shit. You know, I'm supposed to be this hardcore gangster, not let somebody take stuff from me. Oh, I mean, you just gotta, it's a better way. It's a better way than the road that you were on doing the dumb shit that would put you in a box where that you need permission to come out. You need permission to go take a shower. You know, you need permission. You won't even see an ice box. You know, the first time I seen an ice box, for the first time in 33 years, when I walked in my daughter's house and she said, Dad, go get you something out the ice box. Well, I call it ice box refrigerator. I'm sorry. You know, and it was a trip. It was a trip to walk to a refrigerator and open the door and look at the amazing shit that was in this refrigerator. You know, so, you know, for me, I tell the dude, man, all that you do, being able to walk out at night, you know, on your own, enjoy it. Don't never lose that. But if you stay with the life that you do, you will lose that. Because you'll never see a night yard but looking out this little funky ass little window they have back in your cell. You know, I mean, that's the best I could tell a person, you know, to enjoy life, really. But don't enjoy it the way that I took it. With no enjoyment. Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask, after all you gone through, enduring 33 years in greater confinement, the white supremacist favorite place for Black males.
Yeah.
Did you ever utilize religion at all? Do you believe in the practice of religion? And if so, like how do you engage in the activity?
Okay, let's see. Let me put this right because I don't want to say it wrong and I don't want to offend nobody by what I'm going to say. But my belief at the time, uh, when God called for my mama, I thought God was a piece of shit. And I'm sorry for saying this, but this was my feelings at the time as being young because he took something away from me that I really loved and I didn't know how to get it back. I didn't know how to express myself. So I thought it was a piece of shit. I went through a period, a time that I couldn't really accept this. And I think it was like in 97, 98. I was at a place called Donovan. And I had a chance to speak to a couple of brothers that was moving. And they invited me to come to service. So I went and it was during Ramadan. And during Ramadan that you're supposed to read a verse of the Quran every day, right? So during during Ramadan, the brothers had a little circle and they was talking, and brother asked me, "What do I think about God?" And I told him, "I think God is a piece of shit." When he said, "Why would you say that?" I say, "Because for one, he took my mama away from me. For two, he let shit happen to kids that shouldn't happen to kids. I don't care about adults no more. I'm talking about a kid. I'm an adult. So I had that feeling I didn't care about myself really, right? And he said, "Well, brother, sometimes people are called upon, but it's not their time. But God have a plan." I'm like, "God have a plan? What kind of plan he got for allowing us to hurt kids the way we hurt kids?" I say that because of me. I never seen my kids grow up. Here it is, my kids are grown now. With kids of their own, you know. And I was like, I can't understand that. I don't grasp. He said, "Well, when you get back, he gave me a couple of pieces of paper to read. And I went back, I read it, and I think I had a epiphany, do you say? Uh, that changed me in a way that it is somebody a little higher than us somewhere, you know, that give us a little light, a little guidance, you know, as brothers, to take a different route, a different road. That was my little turning point on religion as brothers believing that it is somebody somewhere that's looking over us, and, and but I still feel that he don't interfere enough when he's looking over us, but he do what he do. Everybody had their own belief on what God is, on are supposed to do for us or whatever, or guide us, how they say, you know. So, but for me, it was a little hard transition as to believing that it was somebody. But now, you know, today, I believe it is somebody because he blessed me with the chance to stepping back out of here again in society, you know, and I'm gonna try to make the best of this. I'm not gonna mess it up.
In regards to the questions about how can you tell the difference between people faking it and being real, she said, yeah, that made a lot of sense. Thank you. And yeah, I definitely I understand your sentiments entirely because I don't use the term God, I use the term creator. And
Right.
Black people have been super indoctrinated and led to believe in these concepts known as Christianity, Islam, Judaism, where all of these are just mechanisms for control. That they're more likely to control a Black person to keep them from countering the system, keep them from wanting to practice counter violence against racist men and racist women. So I think your sentiments were very logical. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. I don't have any further questions, but we will be doing this again.
Most definitely, I like this.
Yeah, I will be sending you some counter racist materials. I'll be sending you some stuff for you to listen to. If you don't want to pick up some books, you can just listen to this broadcast.
Okay.
And then so we can have a bit of a more just further conversations about racism, white supremacy, and but I do have another question. Actually, I almost forgot this one. Do you think I have two more questions actually? Do you think that Black people should be working to eliminate the system of white supremacy, racism?
Yes, I mean, and which way though? Now,
Oh,
see, it's two different ways of doing this, or maybe it's three. You know, you got the violent way, you got the smart way, and you got the understanding way. Because if you understand your enemy, right, this is our enemy, right? If you understand your enemy and his goal, you have a smarter way of beating at his goal. You see what I'm trying to say? But if you use the violent way, that means everyone you see, you just pop. What the hell? You know? I mean, to be real. You know? I mean, to me, that's the dumb way. Because now you stepping into his land where that he can use his law to put you away or to put you in the ground. You see what I'm saying? So if you learn what he's trying to accomplish and beat him to the punch, why not? You know, and you already know what he's trying to accomplish. He's already done that. But how let's see, how long can you be on the top of that totem pole without somebody knocking you off? And this society now, because of people like y'all, you know what I'm saying? They got a little education on that takes it a little better. That if you don't use the violence, you're using your words. Words hurt more than any weapon that you could ever have. Any weapon you can ever have. Because words stay in your mind. Remember how you was little, mama used to tell you, don't touch that, that's gonna hurt. But you in the back of your head, oh, that shit ain't gonna hurt, I'm gonna do it anyway. And it hurt. You know what I'm saying? But all the way in the back of your mind, as you get older, that's gonna hurt. You do that shit, that's gonna hurt. Words, homie, words hurt a whole lot more. And they touch something. They touch your heart. If a person is true about his word, they touch your heart. A weapon won't touch your heart.
Thanks so much for answering. I had one question as well. I think everything
Yes,
you've been sharing has been really eye-opening.
yes, sir.
Question just came to me. Your generation that was around when the drugs and stuff started kind of flowing into Compton, South Central, LA, and all those concentration camps for Black people.
Right.
Do you kind of remember the shift when more people that you knew started to become gang members and drug dealers? Do you kind of remember the drugs coming in on those trains, and like what do you remember from that era?
From that era,
Yeah.
well, let's say this way. We started gangs as to protect our so-called community because of the white officers beating on the neighborhood kids or my grandparents, my parents. So the gangs were started to protect the neighborhood. White folks flipped gangs around for colors. See, because everybody said blood. I wouldn't care who you were, where you was from. You know, when an older person said you, "What's up, young blood? How you doing?" You see what I'm saying? So when white folks switched it to color and people start saying cuz, you know, all the Bloods and the Crips can't get along when we were one because it was our job to protect the kids in the neighborhood, the older folks. When I seen an older person walking across the street, like I made it my purpose to go over there and help her come across the street, carry her bags to her house. You see what I'm saying? That was what gangs was supposed to be about. But we allowed the influence of white folks with that to make it as now we want to kill each other. And we took it to that level of killing each other for them to stop our unity. This was a unity that we had amongst us. And we broke that unity by allowing the influence of them. So the influence, drugs. All of a sudden, this neighborhood got drugs and you peddling it to my neighborhood. So why I can't get no drugs and peddle it to your neighborhood? You see? So they brought drugs in the game. A way to 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 take us from uh say our parent is having a hard day at work, you come home, now you gotta sit up here and eat this beans and rice that you didn't ate all week because you didn't have enough to buy a piece of meat to put into something. Or you gotta save the meat for a special day. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm take this drug and it's gonna relieve me from have to do it, you know. So they brought in something to counteract our togetherness. And that's what it did. It broke us up. It turned people into something that shouldn't be. You know, it turned the black man into a cold monster, a real cold monster. And the coldest monster I ever knew was my uncle, was a dope fiend. The coldest mug I ever knew. Man used to tell me in one arm I have a house. In the other arm I got 2 or 3 rose washers. In my leg, I got this, I got that. Because this is the drugs that he was shooting. And the money that it took to get them drugs, you know, it turned him into a monster. So he took everything and anything that he could, regardless of who he was. Only thing I give it to him though, he never stole from the family. But anybody else, he was fair game, you know. I mean, you know, I've seen it. Now I just want to see the change, and it ain't no change. You know what they got the kids now? What's that shit? It starts with an A. Some new drug. You know, got dudes spaced out now. You know, I mean the change of the time. the young dudes that's coming up now, if you don't educate yourself, you stuck on this new drug. You know, and this drug is way out. This shit is killing you. You take too much of this shit, or you take a little of it, it'll kill you. You know, so it's all messed up.
I think you're talking about fentanyl. Is it
Yeah,
fentanyl?
that's him. That's him. That's
Yeah.
him. He in the penitentiary right now, wreaking havoc.
Seen some
Right
video.
now.
Seen some video of some inmates in prison completely zombified by that substance.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
thank
mean,
you for sharing the information about how the war on drugs, basically, which is code for the war on Black people, because it was engineered to do what it successfully did, I suspect, which was
to knock
throw
us down.
go
To
for
knock
it.
us. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
No, I just said it did throw a wrench and Black people's progress, not progress, but unity or whatever was going on.
Yeah.
Because I was born into the drug scene and into the gangs, and Black people being in a very, very misfortunate position. But yeah, thank you for sharing that.
You know, I enjoyed this. I appreciate y'all. You know, and I hope the next time I get to do a little something a little better, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So and back to your how are we gonna solve this problem? See, we have to the people function and people activity, and there are 9 areas of people activities: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And we've talked about all of these areas in this on this call. But we have to understand that what white people have done is that they've organized themselves around a code. There's a white code. White people think, speak, and behave in a codified manner. So non-white people, Black people need to do the same. We need to organize ourselves around a code. So the material I'm going to be sending you is going to hopefully give you some more information on how this system works and how you can codify yourself, which is why I was telling you to ask, come up with some questions to ask your parole officer, because that's how we solve problems with questions and answers. But yeah, but we are going to solve this problem of racism and white supremacy. It just takes enough non-white people, an effective number, we call it, of non-white people who are using a counter-racist code and counter-racist logic, because most people think using racist logic. Most people think like white people, which is why we have the kill nigga music, why we have Black males and Black females in conflict with each other, because most of us have been trained to think like white people. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna solve this problem. It just takes Black people from all walks of life. You know, we need millions of Mr. Sloans and millions of Helen B's and O5s and Certs and Rate This Record and Joe Licari. We need a million of non-white people like using a counter-racist code, talking about this problem in a codified manner to solve this problem. So my final, you kind of answered it when you were talking about just the mistreatment you're experiencing now that you're out of greater confinement. But just so I can have a little more clarity, and for the folks who join the chat later, how are you spending your time and energy now being out of greater confinement?
Really trying to adjust the day program. And what I mean by day program, but they are such as me, what I'm going through now, not being able to leave when I like to leave or whatever, not being able to do anything, like at a certain time, let me see if I get this right. From 8:30 to 9 is they count here. So you have to be in your room for count. From 9:30 to 11 is the first group, right? If you're not in the group, you're supposed to be in your room. From 11 to 12:30 is they call lunch and free time, right? From 12:30 to 2, you back into a group again. So you back in your room. From 2:30 to 4, you in another group. Are you in your room? At 4 o'clock to 5:45 is so-called dinner. From 6 o'clock to 8:30 is in your room. So they count and you got to stay in your room the rest of the time, you know. Then from 8:30 to 11 is free time, where you either in your room on your phone, or they got a little, the building is built in a square. So in the middle of the square is a little patio area. It's the only place you're allowed to use a phone, you know. So if they catch you walking the hallway on your phone or listening to your music with an earpiece in your ear or whatever, they take your phone away from you for one day, then 2 days, then they call this contract shit that they, you know, they take your shit away for a month and you got to clean up, come out and clean up and all this because you're under so-called contract, you know. I mean, I got to learn the rules because in prison I knew the rules. So now I'm in a new prison where I got to find the new rules. And I've been asking the so-called higher up for these rules, but can't nobody find them. You know what I'm saying? It's all of a sudden now. It's like it's something that you just throwing on somebody because we're new here. You got a whole bunch of new dudes coming in, you know, so you want to fix it a certain way now, you know. So I mean, you know, I'm gonna speak on trying to get something going uh, to kind of ease my mind. But what I do though, really nothing really to do. I really don't have. I'm not a person that likes to read a lot. But if I can read something that really catch my interest, I'm into it. But basically, you know, me just being able to holler to the family, you know. Now I can reach out and call. I ain't gotta wait on you to put no money on the phone no more, or none of that. I can call you now direct, you know. So that's a good thing. That's my day.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get you some counter racist material for sure, either audios or some written material that because you are a very necessary asset needed in the war against white supremacy, sir, Mr. Sloan.
I love to have that. I mean, you know, I'm gonna share this with my daughter. I'm gonna try to the little ones you send me. I'm gonna try to copy them and send it to her so she can hear it. Cause she asked me about that, and where she hear this, she want to hear this cop that the one we doing now. She was
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. I think I have her in my Instagram. I will be sending her a link to this for sure. Sir, did you have a question?
Nope. It was great having you, Mr. Sloan. Great to a bit about you. Look forward to the next time. I'm gonna get your information from 05 so I can reach out privately to discuss more things. But I look forward to next time, and I hope you really take on the materials that I will be putting over.
oh, most definitely, I will. I will do that.
Excellent. So we usually do final comments, and I'm just gonna let you oh yeah, and rate this record. She wants to give you her regards. She says have a great weekend. But we're gonna let you just have the final words. You can share whatever you want to share. Talk
Final word. The
Yeah.
final word. What's the final word?
or comment, statements.
You sure put
Yeah.
me on the spot here, huh? Final word. Never change what you're doing. Continue to do it. Open up a lot of eyes. I mean, and mind. Don't be in a big rush. It just takes time. And our biggest thing is patience. A lot of us don't have patience. And I think I learned patience a little bit by my confinement. Just be patient. Be patient. I mean, like they say, Rome wasn't built overnight. This won't be able to be built overnight. Just be patient, and we try to get as much as we can out of it, and that's it. Have a lovely life, enjoy life. Really enjoy as best you can of life. That's the best I can say.
Thank you. And for the folks who will find this broadcast, please share it around, like, comment, subscribe, because again, this account is nigger banned, meaning that it's hidden from everyone. YouTube, the white people at YouTube do not want you to see this material. They do not want to see Black people attempting to solve the problem with our thought, speech, and action. Thank you again, Mr. Sloan. And the
Thank you,
panelists.
Mr. Have a good evening.
You too.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your time and energy. And definitely we'll have you on for a next one and a one after that one and one after that one.
Yes.
All righty. CRWS signing out.
Signing out.